People who make it out of manipulative supremacist groups, like exploitative religious and pseudoscientific organizations, are often faced with distortions from two directions. When they attempt to convey their experiences of manipulation to members of their former group, their words are magically transformed into, "I'm mad, evil, and weak." But when they share their story with non-members as a cautionary tale, their words are often magically transformed into, "I'm gullible, asinine, and spineless." After a while, the apostates realize they're in the no-one's land of the unheard, and it begins to become clear why these groups continue to thrive. Groups with a talent for bending truth, preaching love while denouncing non-members as a subhuman underclass, claiming to champion peace while committing acts of barbarism, pontificating about family values while tearing up countless homes, promising freedom and enlightenment while enforcing ignorance, and exercising total control. I want to explore some of the mechanics of manipulative groups, dispatching some of the stereotypes about the people who get recruited by them, and reflecting on preventative measures we might take to avoid recruitment. But if there's just one thing I really want to do in this video, it's to communicate the importance of acknowledging a simple but profound fact. We can all be manipulated. At a press conference on manipulative groups, Ian reveals he lost tens of thousands of dollars when he was recruited by a group who proposed that clusters of alien spirits are attached to all humans, keeping us from our full potential. Ian tells us how he and the other group members paid through the nose and every other orifice for a special kind of counselling, which they were told would rid them of these spirits. They were told that once these spirits are gone, they would be the primary causal agents of their lives, with skills such as telekinesis, total recall, and mastery over illness. No evidence was given for any of this. The alien story was the unsubstantiated revelation claim of the group's founder, and no records have ever been produced of a single person gaining any of the special powers or knowledge described. What do we think of Ian? Does he lack intelligence? No, his intelligence is above average. He's a highly creative, resourceful man. That's why the group considered him such a juicy prospect. Is he a bit credulous, quick to accept whatever he's told? No. In fact, by default, he's a cautious, skeptical fella. Is he driven by narcissism, desiring supremacy over others? No. He's always been compelled by deeply humanitarian instincts. Of course there are folks out there who are gullible, obtuse, submissive, power-hungry, escapist, lazy. But it's a huge mistake to assume that successful recruitment into manipulative groups depends on the presence of these kinds of traits. And while we're hunting for them in Ian's case, we're missing 6 crucial words. He was recruited by a group. He was subjected to a process. The idea of alien spirit clusters wasn't presented to him in the bald way he presented it to us. Ian was carefully steered through a sequence of experiences, so that by the time the alien spirits concept was mentioned, a range of key psychological elements had been established to ease its entry and help insulate it from criticism. Later on, I'll be looking at how this was done. Just as we can become distracted by the red herring of personality deficiencies, we can become misled by the notion of predisposing circumstance. Some psychologists have generated lists of situational factors that can leave us vulnerable to manipulative groups. Factors like weak family bonds or recent bereavement. Problem is, when we don't find ourselves reflected in those items, we can be left with the impression we're not vulnerable. When we see an item like weak family bonds, we might satisfy ourselves that we're not at risk because we have strong family bonds. But strong family bonds can put people at risk too. Many people are recruited by a relative, and if your whole family's been indoctrinated, you could be born into a manipulative group.